Hi Venkatesh, how are you?
Hi, how are you? I'm good. How are you guys
We
doing?
are we are we are all good, and I'm glad you joined us. Let's talk about your foray into filmmaking. What led you to become a filmmaker, and what was your initial journey like? And how did films as a medium interest you to, one day go out and make a film?
Yeah, as a child, I was grown up in a city called Vijayawada. Uh, so in Vijayawada, there is a neighborhood called Gandhinagar. It's an area called Gandhinagar. And in that Gandhinagar, there is a street which has 20 film theaters, in the same lane. So I was brought up in that, like I was born and brought up in that way. So every day morning, whenever I come out of my house to go to school or to go anywhere, so I used to walk amidst a lot of chaos, film chaos. So, for example, Palabhishekam, so Palabhishekam for these big star cutouts and all. So this was my world when I was a child, and every Sunday, my mom used to give me 10 rupees. Like I went to watch film alone. I went to watch film alone at the age of probably 8. When I was in third standard, I went to watch a film alone. So my mom used to give me 10 rupees every week and just to just go and watch a film. 5 rupees for the ticket and 5 rupees for samosa in the interval. So that's how that's how whole that's how I was introduced to this world of cinema, and there's a lot of true audience, like the the core audience. I watched a lot of films and tried to understand what cinema is. Eventually, I developed an interest in acting. Um, so I wanted to become an actor. Like when I was in seventh standard itself, I had this firm ambition of becoming an actor. But I didn't tell anyone that because acting is a taboo. Like every other taboo in the society, acting is a big taboo, and people will tease you like anything if you say you want to become an actor, especially when you were in school. So I kind of hidden it for a long time, and when I came out of my house, I left my house at 16. So at the age of 16, I left my house. I just wanted to live independently, and then I started, searching for opportunities to come to Hyderabad and start trying for acting roles and all. So I waited for I waited for 4 years just to grow some facial hair. So when I was 20, I came to film industry. Uh, I was working in a BPO. So I was working in a BPO called Apollo Health Street. I worked in a couple of BPOs, but when I came to Hyderabad, just for survival sake, I worked in a BPO called Apollo Health Street. So so simultaneously, I used to give some auditions and all. So somehow I got an opportunity in one of the films. But it's just like standing next to hero kind of a role. So then what I did after, like, I worked on that set for 40 days almost, and then it possessed me. The whole film set, the process possessed me a lot, and I couldn't work anymore in the house. Like I couldn't perform well in the office. So my team leader one day, she came to me and she told me, you know what, you messed up everything. You messed up my team. So you used to be very good, but now you messed up my team. You just abscond. I don't mind having an attrition rate, higher attrition rate, but you just abscond. You don't be in my team. You are possessed with something called cinema. You just go. You can't live here. Then that day itself, I absconded. I just did half of my shift and I absconded from the office. So then, nothing, never went back to an office. So, after leaving my job, so I started going to this place called Krishnanagar. So we have lot of stories about Krishnanagar. In fact, in one of the popular films, there is a song called Krishnanagare Mama. So because it's all about film guys and film, it's all about people who work in film. So and this in that song they tell you that they live in Krishnanagar. So I started going to Krishnanagar every day, but I never found a single film personality that I can recognize. So what happened one day, I was having some snack in a small, very small, like there's a famous hotel called, it's a kind of a small restaurant called Manga Tiffin Center, where everyone comes there. So I heard that in some news and all. So I went there. So there I found some guy who I think he works as an extra, like he works as a junior artist, and I recognized him. So you work in films, right? And yeah, you are very familiar, sir. So why can't I find any other film people here? They say that Krishnanagar is popular for film people. And no, not now. You have to come in the morning. At 4:30, you have to come, and then you will see the whole world. Then, then the next day, I had never, I never woke up at 4 o'clock in my life till then. I woke up at 4 o'clock and I went to Krishnanagar, and there was a hell lot of chaos. So there was a lot of chaos, and I was asking everyone, "Oh, where are you going?" We are going as a junior artist, and someone was telling me that they're going as a production person. And there was this guy who was actually loading a truck with a lot of people. So I went there and I asked him, "Where are you going?" So he told me, "We're going to Pawan Kalyan set. You want to come and work? I'll give you 200 rupees, 150 rupees or 200 rupees is what he said." I was earning almost 20,000 rupees till, yesterday. But now, per day, 150 rupees, it's okay. Like, it's Pawan Kalyan set, and, I just got into the truck and I landed in a set. But there was no Pawan Kalyan there because they told me that after you work and you go, then Pawan Kalyan will come and act in the set. So but I got an opportunity. I felt very happy for getting an opportunity to get into a set directly, whatever the job nature it might be. But I was very happy to just get into a set and see the whole process. So like that, I entered few popular film sets with that job, with that designation as a set boy. So and then I started, understanding the whole process and all. But simultaneously, I made some friends in that group of people who work as set boys, and they used to give me information about auditions and all. So like that, I worked as a set boy for 3 to 4 months, and then I got a good amount of information, and then I understood how to approach people, how to approach film offices as an actor. And I started going to each and every office with my photographs. And everywhere they used to tell me, lot of stories, lot of reasons, and somehow I cracked very few opportunities. In the meanwhile, what happened? So this is the important thing that I want to tell you. So I always loved writing since my childhood. When I was like 8th or 9th, I was in 8th or 9th standard, I started writing. I used to have a friend, and with that friend, we used to develop stories. Oh, like this, like that, like next, like we used to create some stories. So I saw an advertisement in one of the internet channels, YouTube channels, that they're looking for content creators like actors, writers, directors, and everyone, every sort of technician. So I just tried my luck by just applying for that, with the small synopsis that I wrote. And then surprisingly, they got actually, my friend and I, we both applied for it. My friend was trying my friend wanted to become a director. I wanted to become an actor, but we both tried for it with two different synopses, and my synopsis got approved. And I made a short film, I directed a short film, and it was so immature. Like I don't know what is a shot actually. So I don't know what's close up, what's mid, what's wide shot, whatever. Like I don't know anything. I don't know anything about direction. So I just attempted it, and with whatever common sense and the basic knowledge I had, and it actually got little popularity, and people started recognizing me as a director. So the one who approved that concept, Radhika Lavu, she's an executive producer back then in a channel called Ranveril Films. So she called me, and she asked me to work in the same organizations, in the same channel as a production designer. I don't even know what production designer means. I went back home. I typed production designer in Google. I understood what's the nature of the job. And then I went back on the next day to Radhika Lavu, and I started working as a production designer on short films. So after a few months of working there, Radhika only referred me to a TV channel, a TV show as an assistant director. So I don't know which way my life was going, which way my whole filmmaking career was going. I wanted to become an actor, but the opportunities that are coming for me are different from what I wanted. But I just took up all the opportunities. I worked as an assistant director, and in the same show, I became a co-director, floor director. So that's how this whole direction thing started. Since I had a lot of interest in writing since childhood, it also, that part also, the creating story part, that quality helped me in working in direction department and all. So eventually, even though I was working in television shows as an assistant director, I used to give auditions for the films. But I'm in television, what happens if you're an assistant director or any kind of director in television, it means you won't have a single day time. So it's every day is packed up, jam packed for you, because you have to take care of rehearsals, you have to create content, you have to take care of costumes, properties, everything. So that's why I used to leave some acting opportunities because of lack of time. But somewhere in the middle, I started making more short films just to just to see what kind of director I am. So just to understand what kind of films I will make in future if I get into direction. So I made a few short films which are not popular in YouTube. So then eventually somewhere in the middle, the transition happened. I don't know when it happened, but somewhere in the middle, I totally became, transformed into a director, and I started thinking as a director rather than thinking as an actor. I started thinking as a director somewhere in the middle. I don't know when it happened, but it could have happened in the middle of the night when I was sleeping. So that's how I got into direction, and I tried to work under a few filmmakers, but there was no luck because of no background for me. So everyone used to ask me, who sent you, who sent you, who sent you. And then one day I got really pissed off. Even I tried So I tried for investors also for one of my scripts, and everyone used to ask the same question. Not even the producers, the people who stand outside the office, they ask you that question: who sent you in? If you have a valid name, then you will go in. Otherwise, you have to just leave. So we usually have to write the name that the reference name on a paper, and that guy will take that name into the office, and if they call in, we'll go in. So I had no name to give. So I got pissed off at one point, and I just told one of the guys, my mom sent me, telling me just to go safe and come back safe. Then yeah, that's the last person I met for an opportunity. That's the last office I stepped for an opportunity. I got really pissed off, and I started I started thinking how to make my own name valid to write on a piece of paper when I go to some office. So then so I got frustrated, and I wanted to go on a break, and I was thinking where to go. So exactly 7 years back, before 7 years before this happened, I was living in a place called Kancharapalem. So I was working in one of the BPOs in Vizag, and I was staying in Kancharapalem with a family as a paying guest, but I never paid them. That's another story. So I was staying in this family's with this family as a paying guest, and I observed a lot of these behaviors, these unique behaviors in Kancharapalem people. Back then only I had this interest of I used to think like one day I have to make a film here. So I just thought of going there for a break, but while going on a bike, while riding a bike for 700 kilometers from Hyderabad to Vizag, I thought of why can't we make a film there? But we don't know what's the situation right now there. So I just went to Kancharapalem. So the moment I entered Kancharapalem, I don't know, it's little dramatic, that air, that people, all these dialogues are little dramatic, but I have to say, the way, I observed till I reached my friend's house, I observed people and their lifestyle there. And then the moment I reached my friend's house, my friend called me from third floor. And I looked up and I told him, I'm going to make a film here. And he was like, he was not at all expecting that. So you come up first and let's discuss it. Then this whole story started. This whole process of Kancharapalem started that moment.
Great. So that's a great information, Venkatesh, and a great journey from being somebody who is interested in acting to become transiting to thinking of oneself as a filmmaker at first, and then to start the journey of Kancharapalem. It sets a very wonderful context for the entire conversation ahead. So we are here to discuss independent filmmaking.
Yeah.
I was just setting up a wider context of what independent filmmaking is. That when you, like you said, that whenever you would go to meet somebody, and the first thing that was asked was for a validation. Okay, who has sent you?
Yeah.
Right. So you as you rightly said, that you realize that you had to make your own name as a validation enough. According to you, what is independent filmmaking, and how do you look at independent filmmaking?
So independent filmmaking, the meaning is there in the name itself. Independent is just being not dependent. So when you have a liberty to make whatever you want, like whatever you want to make, or whatever story you want to tell to the audience, I think that's if you have that liberty, and if you can make a film with no, on your terms. On your terms means especially when it comes to content. When it comes to content, if it is yours, if it is totally yours, and if you have liberty to tell whatever you want to tell to the people, I think that's independent filmmaking. So the second place is in the second place. Not depending on any studio or any production house, all that comes. But in the first place, I think independent filmmaking is all about the story that you're telling, the story that if you are telling your own story that you want to tell in every single shot, I think that's independent filmmaking is what I feel right now. I think liberty is independence. So if you have liberty to tell whatever you want to tell, then I think it's an independent filmmaking. It's an independent film. And then in the second place, as I told you, not depending on studios or production houses and all those things. If what what I feel if a studio involves and if it allows you to make whatever you want, wherever you want, it just throws money and asks you to do a film. That is also an independent film, is what I feel. Independence is liberty, is freedom. So I think if you have freedom to tell whatever you want to tell, then it's an independent film. Is what I feel.
Great. I think you articulated it in a very correct way. What independent filmmaking is. But as we say that any form of independence comes at a certain cost. So when we talk about independent filmmaking, let's talk about the challenges that a filmmaker could encounter, or what are the hurdles that a filmmaker could face. Because as we say, it's easy to say that okay, let's go indie if nobody is backing up. But when an independent filmmaker hits those roadblocks, say in terms of finding talent, in terms of finding the basic money to put things together and put the production together, and finding the right even we will talk about distribution but a little later. But let's understand the creative and the financial part of it.
Yeah,
So
let's talk about how to create something first.
yes. So when you talk about independent filmmaking as a creator, what are the challenges that you think independent filmmakers face? And also, what are the advantages of like you said, one is that you get complete control over what you want to make as an independent filmmaker. But I'm sure there are more advantages than just this is the biggest advantage, but there are more advantages. So if you could just quickly give us a comparison between something that is said as challenges of an independent filmmaker versus the advantages of being an independent filmmaker on a creative term.
Yeah, sure. So for any film, the first and foremost important thing is a script, a screenplay. I'm sorry, I'm not. It's not a script; it's a screenplay. So a screenplay is much needed, thing before anything to do. So the first challenge that an independent filmmaker, or he becomes an independent filmmaker after making something on his own, but till then he's a filmmaker. So for any filmmaker, like I'm seeing these days, it's happening with a lot of filmmakers I know, and also a lot of aspiring filmmakers that approached me for some opportunity or something. So they are not writing anything. They are not writing. They're just thinking. They're in their head. They're filmmakers already, but they have no material to write first to make a film. So they'll have one idea in their brain. They'll have just an idea. They don't write. They don't put it on paper. They have an idea in their head, and they just start approaching for investors. And they think that after getting an investor, they'll give us a development fee, and on the pre-production we'll write the whole script and all those things. First thing for an independent filmmaker or any filmmaker is or a person who wants to make a film on his own is a screenplay. First, we have to write a screenplay. We shouldn't think that we have a screenplay. We have to put it on paper. So once the screenplay is ready, because it's the toughest part in filmmaking. I'm telling you, writing a screenplay is the toughest part than anything. Finishing it is the toughest part. Finishing the final draft of the screenplay is the toughest part. So once you once you're ready with your screenplay, and this is what I want to make, this is it. When you put the full stop to the screenplay, then the whole process starts very easy. I'll tell you an example. For Kancharapalem, I wrote a screenplay sitting in Kancharapalem. I came back to Hyderabad to start a crowdfunding campaign. But by then, there was another guy who was a little popular. His name is Panindra Najati. He's also an independent filmmaker here. He already started a crowdfunding campaign and he got good response. And I thought, right now I won't get any money from investors because everyone invested in this Panindra Najati's film is what I thought. So then what happened? I was showing my pitch video to everyone to try to get some investment. And then eventually I met Ravina Parshuri in Starbucks, and I had shown her the pitch video. The first question she asked me was, "Is the screenplay ready?" I told yes, ready. Okay, then let's make this film. So if I always think, what would have happened if I told her that the screenplay was not ready? Like screenplay was not ready. I have to write. It has to be written. But the whole idea, with whatever idea I have, I made this pitch video. If I would have told that, I wouldn't have made Kancharapalem, or Pravina wouldn't have funded Kancharapalem, because any investor wants a filmmaker who is ready today to make a film. People who invest in independent films or any project like this, like Kancharapalem, they look for someone who is ready immediately, not like after giving some money or after giving some funds, they'll get ready in 1 month or 2 months. They won't invest because they are also passionate people. That's why they are investing in something very independent. So it's not that they just put money into money. They just invest money on everyone. But so you have to be ready. You have to be prepared for each and everything that an investor asks you. First and foremostly, it's screenplay. So that's the first challenge that every filmmaker, almost like even normal filmmakers, also face. Completing a screenplay is a big task. So I suggest everyone to bang your heads to your computer and first complete a screenplay. So after completing a screenplay, the first challenge is obviously finding investors or producers or basically money. So here, most of us, from whatever I observed in the filmmakers that are around me, I observed one thing. Most of us try to crack investors in a traditional way, approaching a producer, getting investment, and getting a production house backup and all these things. Why we do it is because we don't know other ways. We are not educated in those areas. So we have to educate ourselves. If we want to make a film on our own terms, you have to educate yourself a lot about what are the other ways to get an investor. For example, I'll give you a few examples. So for example, like crowdfunding is one option. But if you think that crowdfunding is one example. If you can prepare all the material that you want, that you have to prepare for crowdfunding, that's one way of fetching money. And so you can apply for some screenwriting lab. So, or anything like if, for example, there is something called Film Bazaar. It happens every year in Goa, along with IFFI, International Film Festival of India. So, if you go to Film Bazaar, NFDC organizes this Film Bazaar, and in that Film Bazaar, you can see a lot of workshops. It just happens for 3 days, but there is a lot that you can do in those Film Bazaars. Right from the idea you have in your brain to the distribution of the film. So you can go, you can apply for a screenwriters lab in Film Bazaar or a producers lab in Film Bazaar. So if you, for example, what happens if you apply for a screenwriters lab in Film Bazaar? So you go there, you sit in workshop for 3 days. They will listen to your screenplay, and in 3 days, everyone will bounce their inputs or whatever, their opinions or their feedback. And at the end of a third day, they will announce a winner. So the winning screenplay, and they'll fund that screenplay to come onto screen. So that one thing you can do that, and you can. So there are a lot of film festivals around the world who invest or who fund, who give grants to make films, who funds films. There are a lot of films that are made like that. I think Lunchbox is one of the examples for that kind of film. So yeah, like that, there are a lot of different ways to fetch money, fetch funds. So you have to educate yourself, on all the ways that all the methods that are there to get investment. So that's the second challenge. So I would suggest everyone to just not depend on a film production house or a producer, reputed producer. What would happen to our career? Just don't get scared about your future. Just do whatever you want. Just whatever you want to do right now. Just do whatever you want to do right now. So the best example, if is Care of Kancharapalem. So I made Care of Kancharapalem. That's why I'm sitting in front of you like this right now. So if I try, even with Care of Kancharapalem screenplay, if I tried for a producer, I wouldn't have gotten any approval from any producer, and I would be still roaming on the roads with the screenplay. So just try for other methods, or rob a bank. If you are very desperate to make a film, just rob a bank. You just tell the police people that after the film, I'll come to the jail. This is just an impractical thing, and just joking. So this is so after okay. Now we got funds in some way. We got funds. We robbed the bank, and we got a lot of money, and now we have money to make a film. Now, what's the biggest challenge while making the film? People believing in you is the biggest challenge. For that, you have to have a lot of manipulating talent. So you have to have a lot of, we say in Telugu, we say it as Matala Mantrikudu. So because look, you know that you are an honest person, but honesty has no value in this world. So you have to tell a lot of stories to make for your honesty to work out. Like for example, I'll tell you something. I told a lot of actors who acted in Care of Kancharapalem that I was making a short film, and I made them believe that they are acting in a short film, just in a short film. So, so in that way, because I knew that I can't pay actors if I tell them that this is a film and I have to pay the actor. So I told them it's not a film, it's not a feature film, it's a short film. So um, please help me in making this possible. Everyone came forward. They didn't expect anything, any single penny. Like the whole town of Kancharapalem came forward. They just gave every house I want. They just, the day and night they came. They did it. But they used to ask me, why are you making a short film for 6 months? Like they used to doubt my direction skills. So even though they doubt my direction skills, they used to help me a lot. So at the end of everything, when I announced that Suresh Productions, Rana Daggubati is presenting this film, then I got a lot of calls. Hey, Rana Daggubati presenting a short film, or did you make a film? I told them I made a film. I made a film with you guys. So a lot of people in the cast, they got surprised that they acted in a film actually. And they're not demanding anything or something. So they are very happy to be a part of a feature film. And for some time, it's everything. They felt everything, surreal. So that's the biggest challenge. Making people believe in you is the biggest challenge, because we shouldn't blame them also. So we didn't do anything before. We have no credibility, and it's not fair on our part to expect them to believe us on the first day itself. So you have to tell them a lot of stories about of telling the main story. So to make people believe in you, and it's not that you're doing any crime also, because I know until you're honest in whatever you're doing, this little acts of dishonesty is also okay. You're not cheating them for money or something, right? So first thing is making people believe in you. You have to have a lot of storytelling skills for that. And then the actual challenge, look, there are various kind of challenges while making an independent film. For example, police permissions. There also you have to use your brain. So as I told you, we spoke a few days, 2 days ago, right? So as I told you, filmmaker's job is not like a director's job is not just saying action and cut at the end of the shot. So it's troubleshooting. A director's job is to troubleshoot everything that happens in a set. Especially when you're an independent filmmaker, you have to troubleshoot problems in production side also. So you have I can proudly tell, maybe after this session, police people might catch me and put me in jail. So I had never taken a single shoot permission for Kancharapalem. So when I'll tell you an instance, what happened one day when we were caught by a police patrol van. So we were shooting in this place called Bhimili, which is 30 kilometers away from Vizag. So we were shooting. I believe that everyone in this session watched Care of Kancharapalem. So we were shooting the interval scene where Radha proposes Raju for marriage, about marriage. So we were shooting that on the seashore, on the beach, and suddenly there was this police jeep came and they shouted. So my assistant director, Madhav, he was asking me what to do now, please tell me, what do I have to do? And he asked me to go, but I insisted him to go and tell that whatever you want to do. wanted to what to tell. Then I gave him an idea. So he implemented it. I'll tell you what that idea is. So simultaneously, along when we were shooting our interval scene, there was this film shoot. Venkatesh, Victory Venkatesh, is a star is a popular star in Indian cinema, if I'm not wrong. He worked in Hindi films also. So his film Guru. So Surya, I don't know what's that. Um, Madhavan's film about boxing, girl boxing. So that's so Venkatesh was remaking that film in Bhimili. So that shoot was also happening. So I asked my assistant director to go and tell the police people that we are from the same set. We are from the same Venkatesh set, and our director asked us to shoot some B-roll shots. Then he told the same to the police people. Okay, Venkatesh said shoot, okay, take it. And then they left, and we shot the whole day without permission. So these are the kind of challenges you face, and you have to be very spontaneous when you're on a set, especially when you're making an independent film. So there are a lot of other things that we did to manage police people. That we told them this is a short film, and at times stories like this that we are a part of big productions on the big film set. So this kind of challenges you face, and the next challenge is actors. So
I just want to add to this police permission. We were doing a masterclass with Mr. Saeed Akhtar Mirza. He has made some national award-winning films. He's a great filmmaker, and he was telling us about all these films. If you know his filmography, Salim Langde Pe Matro and Naseem, for which he won a national award, and Albert Pinto Ko Gussa Kyun Aata Hai. So he also used to tell about taking permission and shooting in Bombay is very expensive. So what they used to do was they used to act so confident in front of the cops that the cops never came and checked for the permission. If a cop would come, they would please get aside and let us shoot. So,
yeah, that's what we also did
yes.
Few times when constables come. When constables come, I actually we all somehow found the names of big police people in that location, and whenever constable comes, so we used to tell the big CI's name that we got a permission from CI personally. So they used to just leave. So that kind of things we have to do. Otherwise, independent film, we can't spend money on getting permissions for an independent film. And in fact, governments also, they have to, for example, in New York, if you apply for a shoot, so there is a website for this. If you apply for a shoot anywhere in New York, it's free of cost. And on top of it, they'll provide you with two policemen for free of cost. Everything for free of cost. It's just that you have to apply, before the shoot, probably 10 to 15 days before the shoot, which is reasonable, right? So I think we have to take independent filmmaking in India. Also, we have to take independent filmmaking seriously, and people have to, governments have to do this kind of they have to give these kind of privileges, easy ways to shoot independent film. Yeah. Coming to the acting in independent films, most of the time we cast our friends, or for example, people in a town like me, or you might, you yourself might act in when it is an independent film, right? So coming to the acting, we have to do a lot of workshop first of all. So I did 40 days workshop for Kancharapalem. I did 40 days workshop, and even though I did 40 days workshop, it didn't help me on the set. Okay, it helped me probably 30 to 40%. It helped me, but once the camera switched on, everyone became still. So they started. They didn't move on the like for first 10 days. The whole crew was literally skeptical about the film. Are we doing a right project? Are we doing this film? Like, are we going to finish this film? So then, eventually, after 10 days, people got used to camera, and they just like from then they just nailed it. But that's what we have to be very patient on independent set, especially with the actors. We have to be very careful. We have to be very patient. At least for the first 1 week, we have to think that the first 1 week is not going to work out. We have to prepare and go there. For the first 1 week, it's not going to work out. So after that, everyone will get used to the whole process, and then everything will be in place. So yeah, these are the few challenges, but there are a lot of other challenges in making an independent film. I will let's see if anyone asks at the end of the session. If anyone asks, I'll answer for those particular issues.
Also, the other day when we were talking, you mentioned about the practicalities of the location. You wanted to record in sync sound, and
Yeah.
it was very close to a railway track and a lot of noise. So talk us through that in terms of, again, troubleshooting on set, and also being patient in terms of losing time every time you have to do a retake, and how it will eventually affect the entire economics of the film, and how you troubleshoot that. And yet you insisted on shooting sync sounds because one of the suggestions would have been, let's dub in the post, but you're working with non-actors, so it's a very important decision to make over here, whether to compromise on the quality of performance, because the dub might not be the give you the same emotional impact as the sync sound does, or using or investing more time in the shooting of the film, and that will also have its own cost implications eventually.
So yeah, definitely cost control is very important on a film, an independent film set. So let's talk about cost control afterwards. But coming to the sync sound, if you see most of the independent films that were popular, like most of the independent films which are popular, were made with sync sound. If you can see, if you can research, you'll find that fact. Because first thing, probably independent filmmakers educate themselves about every craft very well. So with the sync sound, we get a wonderful quality of cinema. Like we get so it like with sync sound, it won't look like a cinema anymore. It looks like life happening in front of you. And the other challenge that we face with the actors is if we go for dubbing. Most of the actors in independent films are always, like, most of the times they're very new, and we can't assure that they can repeat the same emotion, the same intensity at the time of dubbing. So even for Kancharapalem, when like 80 people, 80 actors in Kancharapalem are from Kancharapalem itself. So logistically also, it's not possible for me to bring all 80 people to a dubbing studio and make them replicate everything that they did in the set. So I took this decision because I love sync sound. The other reason is bringing everyone to this dubbing studio and making them replicate emotions. I felt it's impossible for these actors to do the same thing again in dubbing studio. So then I thought of going for sing sound. So, but there actually started the real challenge. Kancharapalem is most noisy. Like in my opinion, Kancharapalem is the most noisiest place in this whole world. I haven't been to a noisiest place than Kancharapalem ever, because there is a flyover on top of the neighborhood. You can only imagine, like, whenever a truck goes, it makes sound dun dun dun, and it makes sounds like that. So it's literally on top of the neighborhood, and there are 2 railway tracks on each side of Kancharapalem, and Kancharapalem is the stopping junction. So when, like, there is only one way to Visakhapatnam, one line to Visakhapatnam, and every train has to stop at Kancharapalem for the other train to leave the track. So whenever the train comes and goes, it used to make honk. So the train used to honk like while stopping and also while starting. So we have to complete a shot between the stop and start of a train. So we have to complete that particular take in that duration. Otherwise, again, in middle of shot, the train honks. So we had those kind of challenges, but we took it. We took it because, it takes a lot of time for me to find another Kancharapalem, which is quieter. So these people, they supported me, and they gave the whole town, they gave the whole neighborhood to me to do whatever I want to do. So this opportunity I won't get anywhere else. So I can't. I felt like I can't find this kind of people anywhere else. So that's why I took that risk. But the biggest challenge is I scheduled for 45 days. Because of sync sound, we had to manage a lot of things, right? So a lot of sounds. And the other thing is, aerodrome is just next to Kancharapalem. So, so you like every way, like every roadways, airways, and railways, every transportation way is there in Kancharapalem, and so because of that reason, we had to, because of that reason, we couldn't stand on the schedule that we did. I scheduled it for 45 days, but it went to 62 days. We almost shot 17 days extra. Every day costs us a lot, right? So every day it costs us a lot. But luckily for me, Modi ji helped me a lot. So I'll tell you the reason. But let me complete this. Every day it costs a lot for any film production. So every second is money, time is money. So we also, we also went beyond our budget. Few lakhs, we had to spend a few lakhs more than what we budgeted it first. So these are all the things that happens. Luckily, I have Pravina as producer, so she didn't give me hard time. She just told me, yeah, just go ahead. Even though she struggled a little bit because of this, increasing in budget, she told me, yeah, just go ahead and make the film. And she believed in me somehow, and she gave me that liberty. And she also understood the problem. That we are facing there. If I was just sitting there and lazily and wasting time, she wouldn't have accepted for the extra budget. But she literally saw what we're doing. We were in the middle of the road. We're literally, literally stopping buffaloes. Like assistant directors used to stop, like while the shot is happening, assistant directors used to stop buffaloes, vehicles, everything. And then when I say cut, they used to release everyone. So the crowd blocking and everything. So so she saw all those things, and she accepted for the extra budget. But it doesn't mean that everyone will have everyone will have an investor like Pravina. So you guys have to crack all these things. You guys have to understand all these things before prior to the shoot, before going to the shoot, and just plan accordingly. We planned accordingly, but the other thing is, even though you plan a lot, for the shoot in a film, in an independent film, it won't happen. It gives you a lot of troubles. It won't happen. The plans won't go in the right way. So if you have a plan, film set has its own plan. And independent film set has its own plan. So you have to be very spontaneous to troubleshoot the problems that occur in a film set. So, was I was about to tell you something. What's that? I kept it aside.
That was I think the cost implication of the entire overspread in the shooting schedule, which you I think already covered.
Yeah. So I thought of telling you something, but it's a funny
Modi
thing.
ji. What Modi ji?
Modi ji. So the cost, how cost covered? I covered costs. So on the first day of Kancharapalem shoot, Modi ji announced demonetization, and we couldn't spend more than 4,000 rupees. Right? First of all, we couldn't get money. We couldn't withdraw money from the ATMs. And every day, one of my production assistants, he used to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning. He used to go with my ATM card, and I used to transfer 2,000 rupees every day to his bank account. So he used to go with 2 ATM cards, and he used to withdraw 4,000 rupees, and that's it. So only with 4,000 rupees, I used to shoot every day. Like I used to complete shoot every day. No privileges to anyone. Like whenever the team asked for some chicken or something, that guy is also a very interesting guy, the production assistant. He used to tell everyone to ask Modi ji for chicken. So there are a lot of struggles, hidden struggles that we faced in the process of making Kancharapalem. So first and foremost trouble is demonetization. I literally had only 4,000 rupees per day. So that's how we managed to, even though the budget increased, we managed to, spend less. So yeah, so Modi ji also helped me in making care of Kancharapalem.
Have you given him a special thanks in the opening credits or what?
I didn't want it to become a political issue, so that's why. So,
yeah. Venkatesh, when we were speaking the other day, you were telling me about actors, and you talked about one thing that your team should believe in you, and it takes time for the team to believe in you because even they don't know your work, right? When you're just starting out, or they don't know what to expect. You're talking about, as I said, if you look at Care of Kancharapalem, the performances are very real. There is, as an actor, I can say there is no acting involved in it. And you wanted that as a design, and you were working with, I think, out of 86, 83 of them were non-actors. So how did you manage that, and how did you eventually get your team to trust you on the fact that you are taking out a certain style of acting, certain style of performance from your actors?
Yeah. So when I was writing Care of Kancharapalem, I wrote Care of Kancharapalem sitting in middle of Kancharapalem. in the streets of Kancharapalem. So I used to pick mannerisms from people who walk on the streets and put it in the screenplay. So like lot of characters in Care of Kancharapalem, a lot of actors who acted in Care of Kancharapalem are actually the inspirations for their own characters in the film. So I took mannerisms from, like, I asked, for example, I'll tell you small examples. Raju, the protagonist or the main character in the film, I got inspired from Subbarao itself. Subbarao is an actor who played that character, and all the mannerisms and everything, also a little bit of the story was inspired from his own life and his own his lifestyle. So that's what helped me in a way. They didn't have to act actually, so they just have to behave as themselves. But the biggest challenge was they all watch films. We all watch films, and we have an idea of what film acting is. So, for example, in Telugu, if it is comedy scene, everyone has a reference of Brahmanandam Garu. And if it is Hindi, there are a lot of comedians like Johnny Lever, so there are a lot of actors. And in Tamil, if it is in Tamil, it's Santanam, or like for one particular, like for a particular genre, there is a particular acting reference in our brain, because we all watch films and we think that's actually the real acting is. So all these actors, even though I made them do a lot of workshop, when they came in front of camera, they started acting as these actors. So I prepared them for something, but they prepared themselves watching films for their own characters. So it became very difficult for me in the beginning days, like in the first 1-2 days of shoot. I was like confused. I taught them something else, and they're acting like this. Like this looks like a regular film, like any other film. So I felt I somehow cracked it. So what happened one day? I was I think it's on second day or third day of shoot. I was very upset with one of the performances, and I kept on going for one more. So when it was like 30th take, so our actors, they took a lot of takes. It's like almost like 30 to 40 takes. 40 takes is the highest. So when that actor was doing his 30th take, he actually performed brilliantly. He actually performed like as if he's living in that character. Then that night I understood the technique. They're acting, they're putting their efforts, they're putting their energy and acting like all these film actors. Like since they have a lot of references in their brain, they're acting like these film actors. To act like that, they have to put a lot of energy. And by 29th take or 30th take, they're losing that energy and they're just behaving like themselves. So that's from then onwards, whenever an actor starts acting like a film actor, I used to take a lot of takes. I used to order for a lot of one modes, and all my crew used to look at me as if I don't know direction. Like I am pretty sure that most of the crew felt that I'm a dumb director, because in those takes, they used to perform very well as an act, as a film actor. So they used to perform in their views. They already did a great performance, but I striked it away as an NG. So whenever I used to say okay for a shot, they used to look at me again, because is this shot okay for you? Oh my God, this guy is not a director at all. This guy doesn't know anything about direction is what my crew used to feel. I'm damn sure about it. Everyone will call me after this session. So yeah, that's what used to happen. I used to make them lose their energy for every shot to just bring their own behavior on this on this like in scene. So that's how I managed to bring that realistic. Even though there are few scenes where people think the performances are little weak and all. We can't like in real life. Can you judge someone's behavior as weak behavior or like super performance? You can't measure their behaviors as performances, right? So yeah, that's why I just left it. At times, imperfection looks perfect. So that's why I left it like that. There are few scenes which are like imperfect, but I left them like that because it looks perfect for me. For me, it looks perfect because, for example, in one scene, in one dialogue, in one scene, one of the female actresses, she stammers. She stammers while telling a dialogue, and I told okay for that take, and everyone like laughed at me. But that worked out very well because we stammer a lot. Now, while speaking with you, I stammer a lot, right? Like we all stammer because while speaking, we also think that we forget while directing or while acting or something. We think in real life while speaking, but in the film set, they already know what they're speaking. They actually rehearsal it for 100 times or like at least 10 times when they come in front of camera. That's why they stop thinking in brain and they just tell dialogues. So there, that girl, I just gave her the dialogue. She read it and she went and sat and started telling it. So while telling it, she thought about it. So that's why she got that stammer, and I told okay for the take, and everyone laughed at me. But that take is one of the everyone got impressed with that performance, that particular scene. So yeah, those are like at times imperfection looks perfect on screen. That's what these are the reasons. These are the things that I followed, which helped me in bringing that realistic look for the film. Yeah.
At the start of this session, we said that independent filmmaking is when you make a film absolutely the way you want.
Yeah.
And there were times when you fell behind schedule. There were times when the unit was doubting you whether the film is going in the right direction, the performances are going in the right direction, but you were convinced by what you wanted to do. So
Hmm.
I'm asking you, at the end of it, once you look at the film, the finished product,
Hmm.
do you feel that you were able to make the film absolutely the way you wanted to make it? And had the studio been involved, would the same film have been different in terms of the scale, in terms of the performances, in terms of the canvas, in terms of a lot of things?
Yeah. So for Kancharapalem, it didn't happen. It didn't happen for Kancharapalem because uh, so whatever I shot, I thought of a lot of things, but I could achieve probably 75% to 80% in the film uh, because of a lot of struggle, a lot of hurdles that we faced while making the film. But coming like after coming back to Hyderabad with whatever I shot, we edited it and we showed it to Rana Dagbati and his father, basically Suresh Babu Garu. So there is definitely a chance for the studio or the producer who takes up this film they might there is definitely a higher percentage of chance for them asking you to change something in film. First of all, you have to remember one thing. you didn't make film for money. You see, so all these producers ask you, assuming that people won't like something in your film. They just assume it. It's just assumption. So when they ask you to change something in your film, and you have to defend yourself. You have to have answers for everything. You have to defend your own product. If you are weak, they'll definitely ask you to change things in your film. So what happens if you don't accept for it? They'll just back off. It's okay. It's okay if they back off. You made your film it's an independent film at the end of the day. If you want 500 theaters of release, if you expect a 500 theaters of release for an independent film, it's foolishness, right? So you just have to defend yourself and stand on your own decision. So there is no need of changing anything in film. But there is also another side to it. You might be wrong, and the people who is suggesting you, the person who is suggesting you might be right. You have to, whenever someone asks you for something, it's not, you shouldn't take any decision immediately. You just have to sit for 1 or 2 days and think about what they told. You have to rewatch your film with an objective perspective, and then take a decision. If you still don't think that they're right after 2 days, then you go to them and just tell them that no, it's not possible. I just want it to be the way it is. And if they still release your film, they'll release your film. If they really want to release your film, they'll release your film. Otherwise, if they just want to make money, if they're thinking of just making money out of this film, they'll just back off. It's okay. You just find, you should understand that they are not right person, right people for distributing your film. For example, Rana Dagbhat and Suresh Babu Garu, they didn't ask me a single change. And in fact, Suresh Babu Garu told me, so see Maha, we all try to prove ourselves as intelligence. So we all bounce a lot of ideas and we all tell you a lot of things, a lot of changes in the film. But don't change anything. Even though I will also tell you a lot of changes, but don't accept. I'm just telling you, we are just trying to prove ourselves as intelligence. That's all we are doing. Just don't accept for anything that I ask you also. Right? That's what he told me on the first day when he watched the film. So these are the things. So is this the same question? There was a glitch in the audio. Is this the same question I answered for?
This was also an important answer, but my question was slightly different. But this was also because I think next few minutes we are going to speak about the distribution and all of that. My question to you was, in your personal opinion, like you said in the beginning, that independent films allow you to make the film absolutely the way you want, without somebody telling you what to change and all of that. So when you made the film, when you saw the final cut, when the sound mixing and everything was done, when the film came together as a whole, do you feel you made the film that you had set out to make, the screenplay that you had written, the story you want to tell? Did you feel that you were in lines with what you wanted to make, and you had that control and command absolutely?
Yeah, I definitely had control and command, but because of a lot of hurdles that we faced, I had to be spontaneous and change things in the film. So as I told you, I could only be I achieved only 75% of what I wrote or what I visualized in my brain. It's only 75%. So I at least attempted it, and for that 75% itself, people appreciated my work, and now I have confidence if I make 100% if I make a film 100%, then I would get an Oscar. So I'm just kidding. It's like I would definitely get an Oscar if I made if I had made Care of Kancharapalem, with full, like whatever I visualized on screen. But so that's what I didn't achieve 100% of what I visualized. I only achieved 75 to 80% of what I visualized while writing a screenplay. So the reason for that is, but the one thing is, I actually not managed. It's my principle actually. Once I write, I log the screenplay. I throw the key away. So if you see, I uploaded my screenplay through Film Companion. If you read the screenplay, you will see every piece of the screenplay on screen. Like maybe a few shots I would have just those details would have just went like that. But every detail that's there in screenplay is there in the film also. But probably the way I shot it, or the way I presented them in the film, a little different because of whatever hurdles we faced while making the film. Yeah, but to say honestly, Kancharapalem is only 75% what you have seen. Kancharapalem that you have seen is just 75% of what I visualized actually.
When you have a studio, say for example, on board, you almost have your distribution sorted, because every studio itself today is a distributor.
Yeah.
They have a reach in all the markets, and we all know that they have a certain say in terms of which show they want, what are the timings, how many show the multiplex should give them. It is all there. But somebody who is an independent filmmaker, who wants to distribute, who you want to make a film and you want to get it out there for the people to watch, what are the avenues, and what was the distribution journey for Care of Kancharapalem for you as an independent filmmaker?
Yeah. So for Care of Kancharapalem, Care of Kancharapalem gave me a chance to learn everything that's there in filmmaking, like every craft of filmmaking. Also distribution. So luckily, Care of Kancharapalem, like I did a good job in making a good film. The first screening itself, on the day when we screened it for the first time, so Suresh Babu garu watched it a little bit, a small piece of probably 10 minutes of the film, and then he accepted to distribute it. So we struggled a lot to make a film, but we didn't struggle to distribute that film. That credit goes to Suresh Babu garu and Rana Daggubati. So they actually liked the film, and they backed it. They distributed the film. But I also learned, like, it's my duty to, it's not like every time you will get a great distributor like Rana Daggubati. There will be, there'll be a chance for them not to like the film also. So then there are a lot of avenues that you can approach for distribution. You can approach for a lot of other distributors, and someone will like it, or if they don't like it. So one thing we have to be very clear, Pratik. So what are we making this film for? Are we making this film for money, or are we making this film to tell a story? Luckily, Praveena Barchuri, the producer of my film, never like this. She used to tell me something. See, I always wanted to make a film in my life, and I saved a lot of money. I saved money working as a doctor. I saved money just to make a film. So I'm not expecting this money back. I just want to make a good film. Whether it makes money or it doesn't make money, it doesn't matter for me because I have a job. So if I had that kind of, like, I got that kind of a producer. So that's what we have to think what we make, why did we make this film. So if it is for money, then independent films is not the right way to make money. I mean, like, not instant money. You might, the Kancharapalem made a very good amount of money, but it doesn't mean that every independent film will have the same privilege. So the other avenues which you can approach for distributing this film is, so as I told you, there are a lot of, so that's what we have to educate ourselves as filmmakers before, in all the categories, we have to educate ourselves in terms of distribution also. In distribution also, we have to have some knowledge, not only just shot making or directing or something. So there are a lot of content markets all over the world. I'll tell you what a content market is. You might know already, you might have known it already, but I'm just telling this for people who don't know about content markets. So, for example, in India, there is this popular content market called Film Bazaar. So, Film Bazaar is, as I told at the beginning of the session, Film Bazaar is actually, NFDC conducts Film Bazaar every year alongside IFFI, International Film Festival of India. So, what happens in this Film Bazaar is you can go there with a synopsis. From a synopsis to you can go there with your finished product. A lot of people from all over the world come to that content bazaar. So lot of distributors from all over the world, lot of distributors from other states, and there'll be a lot of film festival programmers there. So a lot of film festival programmers, film festival curators come there. You can go there with your idea, pitch it to the production houses there, like just make contacts and pitch it to them and get funds for your film. And also, if you go with your fully finished film, so there is this is just like a film festival. You will have a deadline before Film Bazaar, and you have to apply for. So there are different categories like viewing room. Viewing room is where you put your film in a small computer, and every distributor who comes there will go into a viewing room and watch each and every film just to find a good film to distribute. And all the film festival programmers will also watch all the films that are there in a viewing room just to find a right film, a good film for to introduce in their film festival. That year. So this is one way where you can find distributors for your film. So the content bazaars are very good to distribute your film, any independent film, Pratik. That's one way. And there are a lot of websites like I think IndieWire. I think it's called IndieWire.com. I think something starts with Indie. So you can give your content. You can send them your demo video, or you can send them the film itself with a password. And if they like it, they put it on their website, and whatever revenue they generate, they'll share with you. So yeah, this is one thing, and you can directly contact. So for example, I think it's Superman from Malegaon, I think. Superman from Malegaon, they released it in one theater, I think. If I'm not wrong, I think they released it in one theater in that particular village they shot it. That's also distribution. And from there it went somewhere. Like Superman from Malegaon is very popular indie film right now. So it depends on what you want from this, out of this film, like what you want from the film that you made. So most of the times what happens is independent filmmakers, after making the film, they try for a lot of revenue. Most of the traditional film studios, they don't like independent film content because of whatever nature of filmmaking in it. They can't, like most of the studios, they can't understand the independent film style. They can't understand. They think that they can't make money with it, and studios look for films which make money. So most of the times I've seen independent filmmakers, they make film and they go to they approach every studio expecting some returns. But if you like, you definitely need to expect for returns. But studios is not the only way that you can expect money. For example, Lucia, when he made Lucia, Pawan Kumar, he actually kept it in YouTube. People started watching it on YouTube, paying for the film. So he proved that independent film doesn't need any studio to distribute, right? So it happened. I was fortunate to get a big distributor, big producer in the industry to back up the project, but it won't happen. It's not that it happens for every film. So we just have to educate ourselves on other ways of distribution. We have to follow them if studio is not working out. Studios are not working out. So yeah. So as an independent filmmaker, you have to be very adventurous here. Otherwise, like you have to risk with your own life. Otherwise, even though you make a film, you will sink. You have to be very adventurous. So one thing I would love to tell everyone in this session is take risk in your life, experiment with your life, experiment with your methods of filmmaking. Risk with like people like us, we can't survive in this particular industry without taking risk. We just have to take any risk. So yeah, I would suggest everyone to take a risk and find different methods to distribute it. I told one day Prevna asked me what you would have done if you didn't get Suresh Babu Garu's backup. If Suresh Babu wouldn't back this film. So I told Pravina, I would have I would have bought a projector and I would have gone to each and every village collecting 10 rupees per ticket. I would have shown this film to everyone. I would have, I came from a very basic level of lifestyle. I can go back to that lifestyle. I can just travel all, both Telugu states. In fact, I can travel all India, every village. Just asking for 10 rupees to sit and watch my film. And that way, I would have earned more than what I earned from studio, is what I told her. And I'm always ready to do that. Even though in future, if my films if my films don't get backed by any studio, I would do that. They can't stop. No one can stop me from doing that, right? So I can just go to each and every village, and just charge 10 rupees per ticket, and 100 rupees per bunch of people. So you can earn more than what theaters earn. So yeah, so I hope I would love to do that one day. I just want to make a film, and I just want to roam with that film through all the world. Yeah. So yeah, there are a lot of ways. These are very few ways that I discussed with you, but you can educate yourself through internet, and there are a lot of VODs right now, video on demand platforms, where you can distribute your film. So there are various kinds of VODs, like broadcast BVOD, TVOD, SVOD, subscription video on demand, which is Netflix and Prime Videos fall under that category. Broadcasting video on demand is like this cable, what the boxes, set-up boxes, they buy your film. Transaction video on demand is where you put a video in any arena, like Prime Video, Amazon Prime, or YouTube, anywhere. You just put some 100 rupees charge for it, like 50 rupees or 100 rupees charge for it, and you can make money out of it. So these are all different distribution ways that you can follow. It's not that only studios or any big distributor can distribute your film. You can distribute your film on your own. You just have to educate yourself a little bit before making independent film. Educate yourself about everything and also distribution while making an independent film.
I just wanted to add, you told about buying the projector and touring from village to village to show the film. So there's a filmmaker, Sandeep Mohan. He made this film called Freelancer. He actually did that, not so actively, but he did that. He did 25 screenings with his own projector and a parda. And he would go from terrace to terrace and would gather people, and they would watch the film. So yes, it's a very innovative way to actually get your film across to as many people as possible. So I just remembered that anecdote when you told about that. It's a wonderful way to actually connect with people. When you go into a village, you put the film out there, and there are 60, 70, 80, 100, how many of people watching right in front of you, and you get that instant feedback whether people are liking the film, what are they relating to, and that's why you're telling a story, right? You want to know how people are relating with the story. That's why we are telling stories in independent films. So that's a
It's just
very good.
You just have to be honest in front of them, sir. I'm a filmmaker. I'm an independent filmmaker. I brought this film to your village. Please pay me 10 rupees per ticket. Go ahead and watch the film. Support it. So it's not like lot of the times. I know we call it in Telugu as namoshi. I don't know what's it in. I don't know how to put it in English. Namoshi means hesitation to ask something. So nothing happens if you ask something. Don't feel namoshi to ask something. One day, one technique I understood is if you make people think that they helped you in your career, or if you make people a part of your beginning of your career, those people are, when you become a big director, they own you and they will make you a big director. People who own you, when people own you, you will become a star or a big director or anything big, because people own you. And whenever you make a film, or whenever you direct a film, or whenever you do something, they'll follow you. They'll watch you because you're owned by them. Like, they feel responsibility of watching or addressing what you're doing. for example, in filmmaking, it's like coming to a theater and watching your. So you have to make people own you. So once if you go to every village, so this is a powerful technique actually. So if you go to every village and show your film to everyone in the village, in all the villages in, for example, in Andhra Pradesh, what happens? Next time when you make a film, everyone in every village of Andhra Pradesh will be ready to watch your film. Will they? Next time there is no need for you to go roam to each and every place and show it. Once you release it, people will come because they already own you. They own your, so just be honest and ask them what you want for the first time. And from the next time, they will only give you what you want. There is no need to ask. Is what I understood from.
That's great. Actually, it works out that way, and even I have experienced it to an extent. So I would agree to what you just said, that people eventually own you up if you ask, ask from them for once.